Hello everyone, Dave here back with another video. I know it's been too long, I think like I don't know when this video is going to be uploaded because I'm currently in my new apartment. It's very echoey, which I'm now realizing this is the first video I'm filming here, so I didn't know how echoey it was going to be. So I'm going to try to work on things or ways to fix that. But I was bedridden for 2 weeks with a super serious leg infection that made it agony to get up and walk and move. And then I had to push back my actual move an entire week. So then I was doing that yesterday and throughout this whole weekend, essentially. But I missed making videos, and the subscriber count is slowly but surely tracking upwards. So I wanted to keep on that grind and keep making videos because I just really enjoy it. Despite if 2 people watch it or 20 people watch it or 200 people watch it, I enjoy the video making process, and I appreciate you guys being along for the ride, I guess, and the support that it brings and all that. So that means a lot to me. So with this new chapter in my life, new place, I decided to make a video on one of my new interests, which is wrestling. I've been getting really into wrestling lately. I have a brief history with it. I was a fan, I didn't hate it, but I didn't really watch it when I was a kid, mainly because I didn't have cable. But whenever I was I had a couple buddies who were into it. Whenever I was at their house, I would watch it. I had some cousins that were into it. Whenever I was at their house and they had it on, I would watch it and really liked it. And then I played the games a lot growing up. I played the games like all the time. I really love the wrestling games. But it only has been, I think, since the end of last year, maybe even the beginning of this year, 2023, that I've been watching wrestling. So I am very, very new. But I've been doing a fair bit of research. I go back and I've watched some previous matches. I love documentaries because I'm a dork. But I've been watching documentaries on wrestling for years. Even before I was into wrestling, I've been watching like What Culture Wrestling, like the YouTube channel What Culture Wrestling, just because I found the storylines, the different superstars and everything. I find that history behind it to be very interesting, regardless of whether I was a fan or not. But now that I am a fan, and now that I've been watching a lot more of it, I thought, in honor of this new hobby of mine, and honor of WrestleMania coming up in a few weeks now, why don't I give you guys, as of right now, how many do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 favorite wrestlers with a few honorable mentions. I know that's a weird number, but I had a few that I wanted to talk about that was over 5, but not enough to make 10, because again, I'm very new. And with that being said, if I say something incorrect, if I skip like somebody on here that's like, oh wow, didn't you include this person? Because they're so, they make sense to be the best wrestler of all time. 1, it's my favorite wrestler. It's not the best wrestlers. And 2, I don't know anything. I'm a dummy. So I hope you guys can, I want to learn. So if you got anything, any constructive criticism or anything like, hey, Dave, you might want to check this out. I think you'd like it. Feel free to leave it in the comments below. But anyway, long-winded intro aside, it wouldn't be a David Dobie video without it. Let's get into our list here. A few honorable mentions are going to be Sheamus. I just love Sheamus because I'm Irish, he's Irish, obviously way more Irish than me, but I appreciate him just being this big Irish brute. And I love his like tag team thing with Drew McIntyre, and the fact that they were like at odds because they wanted to both face Gunther for the international championship. So then they were like starting to be, starting to like break apart their team. So I found that to be very interesting. I'm also a few weeks behind just with everything going on in my life. So if I say something that also isn't really accurate anymore, that's another reason. And also I should say I predominantly watch SmackDown just because that's what fits best in my schedule. I try to catch Raw when I can, but I often can't watch it because I'm doing stuff, but I usually watch SmackDown. But anyway, and that's why this next wrestler is only in honorable mentions. Becky Lynch. I think I would love her. I love her aesthetic. I think she just looks cool. She just looks, you know, just feisty, but mean, but like in a good way. She just looks like she could really get in the ring and kick someone's ass. But she's on Raw, so I don't get to watch her very often. I did go back and watch a WrestleMania. I think it was 32 or 23 or something. I could have that number completely wrong. But her, I think it was Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair, their tag team for like the first official women's championship or something. That was a really fun match to watch. I enjoyed that a lot. That was a really good match. And then my last honorable mention is Kevin Owens. I've heard, again, I don't know. I've heard a lot of people don't like the guy. I've heard a lot of people absolutely love and adore the guy. I really like him. I find him to be really entertaining. Whenever he talks, he's somebody that you want to listen to. And his friendship with Sami Zayn is a lot of fun to like look at and see like, are they gonna like be buddies again or are they not or whatever? And when he came in that one match a few weeks ago and he, Sammy was getting his ass kicked, I think by the Usos or whatever, and he came in and helped him out. That was really fun and really cool to see. So yeah, I really like Kevin Owens. But those are my 3 honorable mentions. Next we'll get into my 6, favorite wrestlers. And we'll start off with a guy who a lot of people think you hear him at only 6, and he should be higher. Now, the numbers are kind of arbitrary. I do have one wrestler who is my favorite and has always been my favorite, but the numbers are kind of arbitrary. It's just for the sake of the list. But the reason I'm putting this guy, at the bottom is because he was before my era, so I didn't, well, everybody is before my era because my era is so new and short. But, he was wrestling, way, way, way back. Or maybe not way back because I'm 26, but back enough. And that's Mick Foley. I watched the documentary, the Rivals documentary that they did on him and Undertaker, and that blew my mind. What a performer. What a beast of a human being Mick Foley is. That one match, that Hell in the Cell, I think it's called, where he got thrown off the top, carried out on a stretcher, got back up there, thrown off again, hit a chair on his way down to where it put a tooth into his nose, still wanted to wrestle, and brought out tacks, had Undertaker throw him onto tacks, said, hey, I didn't like that, do it again, threw him on it again, and this guy still completed the match, and he was beaten, broken, bruised, and I think we all know wrestling is fake. But it's stuff like that that regardless of if it's planned or not, those stunts are not fake. So it really the stunts itself, the fakeness is, yes, this is planned. I'm not actually punching you. I'm making it look like I'm punching you and maybe hitting you with the blunt side of my arm. But when you throw a guy off of a 30 feet in the air, 20 feet in the air, that is very hard to fake. You can't really fake that. It's a stunt more than anything. So regardless of whether it's planned or not, that's still super impressive to do all that, take all that damage to your body, and still want to wrestle, and still want to put on a good show for the audience, and still want to carry out all that you're trying to do. And I find that super, super impressive, and it's just really awesome to see. And Mick Foley is a master at that, at least from what I've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he was also Mankind, which is also really funny because, and again, I could be wrong about this too, but I remember the Socko thing that Mankind used to do. If I'm right about that, that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. A guy just running around with a pet sock or a puppet sock. That's so funny. So yeah, Mick Foley. Again, this isn't in any order, so I'm just going to go down the rest of my list here. Rhea Ripley is just badass. I love her. She's just good. She's good at what she does. She's good at being someone that a lot of people love, but a lot of people hate. And I think being super hated is better than just being forgettable. And I'm not saying that a lot of people hate Rhea Ripley. I love Rhea Ripley, so obviously not everyone hates her, but she's got that personality that she's gonna get some emotion out of you regardless. It just depends on what side you fall on. I hate with a passion Dominic Mysterio. He's such a little punk, so I hate that they're always like whenever you see Rhea Ripley nowadays, you're gonna see Dominic Mysterio, which sucks, and it really, I think, drags down seeing Rhea Ripley because I just want to see Rhea Ripley wrestle. Like, I don't want to see Dominic Mysterio and his little antics, running around. But that's not Rhea's fault. That's just how it is, and whatever. But yeah, I really like her. I think she's awesome. Another one who I'm not sure if people like, but I like, is Charlotte Flair. I really like Charlotte Flair. I think she's she's just very talented. I've seen a few matches by her at this point, and she does a lot of really crazy stuff. Like in that WrestleMania match I mentioned earlier on, that backflip off the top rope, not into the ring, but like into the outside of the ring and landing on both Becky and Sasha, like that's a great feat of athleticism, and that's pretty goddamn impressive. And I think she's at the risk of sounding like a total weenie, I think she's just very elegant and very I don't want to say a goddess, but that's the first thing I think of is an angel that comes down, when she comes out in her big robe and all the blue lights and everything. It's very ethereal almost, if that's, the right word. So I don't know, there's just something about her that I just like. I just like her persona, I liked her act. I don't really like how Ric Flair sometimes gets in on shit because that's his daughter, I guess. So I don't like how he sometimes gets in and tries to mess things up, but it's not really a huge deal. But yeah, I like Charlotte Flair. I don't know if that's gonna, because I've heard a lot of people don't like her apparently, but I've heard that people do. She usually gets a pretty good reaction from the crowd. She's very nice and sweet to the kids, which I always appreciate. I love when, because at the end of the day, we as grown people can like wrestling and enjoy wrestling, and there is a lot to enjoy, but a lot of it is also for kids, and the kids really love wrestling. So I really love how she's very sweet to the kids, at least, on camera. I don't know off camera, but yeah, so that's really cool. So next we have Cody Rhodes. Another guy who I don't know a lot about, again, because I am new, but apparently his start, many people may not have liked him. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like I've heard that from a few people where it was oh, he started out and he was kind of, he didn't, this, that, and the third. But now, I really want him to, I'd want him to beat the hell out of Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I think that would be awesome. But to his story of tearing his pec to where it tore off of his freaking muscle, and then wanting to come back and if that were me, I'd be you know what, I'm done. I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore. That's fine. There's a lot of PTSD there probably. When he goes to jump off of something, that flash in your mind of oh shoot, don't break yourself again. That's got to be a big thing to overcome. At least I feel like it would be for me. So the mental fortitude and just as a man, what you're able to do to push yourself to continue to keep doing what you love, that's awesome to see and everything. But that's more on Cody Rhodes. I don't know if that's probably not his real name, but that's more on him as a person. But Cody Rhodes, the wrestler, I also really like because I feel he's just a really great wrestler. He's also really great on the mic, at least in my opinion. I stop and I listen to him. I really want to hear what he has to say. And a week or two ago when he was, they're hyping up WrestleMania, so he was talking to Roman, I stopped and I was I want to hear what you have to say. Like, I was watching it with my mom, which is actually kind of funny. We both watch it together. Like, every Friday night, we watch SmackDown together. That's kind of our thing. I don't know how we started doing that, but I enjoy it. I love my mom. What can I say? I enjoy spending time with her. But she was talking to me, and she's asking me questions that I don't know because I know as much as she does. But she's like, Dave, who's that? What is he saying? I don't know, Mom. I need to listen. And that's Cody Rhodes in a nutshell. It's like, I need to listen to this man. Like, Mom, I love you, but shush. I need to listen to what Cody's saying right now. So yeah, he's somebody that I think a lot of people can get behind, and a lot of people really want to see him do well. So yeah, I like Cody Rhodes. Next is another guy who really took a lot of people by storm as kind of being like a lovable guy, is Sami Zayn. I really like Sami Zayn. His whole Bloodline storyline is super interesting. I didn't get to see it, but I follow Sami on Instagram, and I saw a snippet of him apparently getting his ass kicked by Jey Uso. I thought they were supposed to be homies. I gotta catch up. I gotta figure out what's going on there. But the Bloodline stuff is super interesting. Him challenging Roman, I really wanted him to win. I knew he wouldn't, because at the end of the day, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania is gonna draw a lot more attention than Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. And, you know, at the end of the day, it still is a business. You want to make money. So I get why he didn't win in Montreal, but I was really hoping that he would. And at least he kind of won the moral victory. He may not have won the belt, but he, like, won the day, if you know what I mean. Like, the crowd was behind him. He put up one heck of a match. You know, he got a few jabs in that, like, really shook Roman and made it seem like, okay, maybe this guy isn't as untouchable as we think he is. And just Sami, just as a person, just seems like a really lovable, nice guy that people want to root for. He's like the underdog. You want to see him succeed. You want to see him do well. And he's just, on the mic, I feel like he's really energetic, and I feel like he's really passionate about his work and about giving a great performance. And it's really cool to see him here because, again, like I mentioned earlier, my biggest wrestling exposure was with the games. And there was one game many years ago, but like Sami Zayn was just like the bottom rung wrestler who like you fought for your very first match in like the create a character mode. And now here he is, one of the like most popular guys, you know, fighting Roman Reigns for the belt. Like, it's just, his rise has been so cool to see, at least for somebody who, you know, 1 second he's like bottom rung, whatever, and next he's over here doing, you know, high society stuff. So again, I really like Sami. I think he's really cool. I want to get one of those honorary Hab shirts. Like, put it on a shirt, you know? Like, it's just a cool guy. I love him a lot. But my favorite wrestler, and ever since I was a kid, even ever since I knew what wrestling was, my favorite wrestler has been, and probably always will be, Rey freaking Mysterio. I love Rey Mysterio. I love luchadors in general. I just love the high flying, the flips, the acrobatics of it. The masks are so cool. You know, the way that they are just look neat and look interesting, but also they imbue the fighter's history. They have meaning and impact behind them. I just spit everywhere, but that's how passionate I am. So the masks mean something, and Rey Mysterio's finisher is 619, and that's my birthday, 619. So that's pretty cool too. I don't know if I should have shared that information because it's a little personal, but also it's my birthday, so who cares? Anyway, moving on before I dox myself next. But it was cool because the first, and it was almost a sign for me to get into wrestling, because the very first Friday that we sat down and watched SmackDown, like my mom and I were scrolling through looking for something to watch. We were eating our dinner. And I was like, oh, SmackDown, that could be fun. And she was like, yeah, sure, let's watch it. And then the first thing we see is good old Rey Mysterio come out and have this really awkward beef with Karrion Kross. I hate that storyline. I think Karrion Kross is super boring. And he basically just bullies Rey Mysterio, and that's it. That's the whole beef. But anyway, they were doing a promo, and I'm like, I need to watch Rey Mysterio. I need to listen to him. And my mother, God bless her soul, this was how our conversation went. Who's that? Oh, that's Rey Mysterio. Why is he wearing a mask? Because he's a luchador. Does he always wear a mask? Yes. Have you ever seen his face? No. Why? Because he always wears a mask. Like, it's like, Mom, Rey is on. Rey is on television right now. I need to listen. He's always been my favorite. I love watching him wrestle. I love watching him on the mic. I know why he hasn't done it, because he can't, fight his son, but I really want him to kick the crap out of Dominic Mysterio. I'm hopeful that, they've been teasing it a lot, and if it hasn't happened already, because again, I've been missing a few weeks now, but if it hasn't happened already, I hope it happens at WrestleMania, because they've been teasing that storyline a lot. So yeah, Rey Mysterio is my favorite wrestler. Probably always will be. At the very least, he has been for a while. My throat is getting dry because I've been talking so much. But yeah, those were my 6 favorite wrestlers as of right now, with a few honorable mentions. If you guys have any matches for me to go back and check out, you're like, Dave, oh, this is a really good match. If you have any superstars for me to think like, oh, you might really like this guy. If you like, one of the people I mentioned, like, oh, if you like blah, 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 you might really like blah, 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 like a Netflix recommendation, I know there's AEW as well, which is also gaining a lot of popularity. I've been interested in trying that out as well, but I'm trying to dip my toe in the water because I've been getting super, super addicted to wrestling. I don't want to like go too far over and have it completely envelop my life. Because as we know, I'm a huge weeb and I already got a bunch of stuff to watch. I can't add all the wrestling goodness on top of it, or else I'll have no time to do anything. So yeah. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I don't know when this will be out because, again, still don't have internet right now. I'm hoping to get a router soon, so I'm going to get this out as soon as I can. And then once we have some stable internet, I'm planning to do more videos at a higher clip. So I appreciate your support. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.